really professional approach to your performance, and I explore the technical, the tactical, and the mental elements of your performance. Budge has just started recording. He must have forgot. So take all of those pieces of the peak performance puzzle and start exploring them in relation to how you did in the match. But when we talk, I've got a little point here. We're very much looking at your performance. But when we come to review, do you look at use a review or a reflection process in all areas of your life or other areas of your life? Do you review your schoolwork? Do you review how you performed in exams and tests? I think for you guys, you might have some big exams in your future. So do you review how you're progressing in that work? How the feedback that you got on essays or courseworks? We can use this process in all areas of our lives. When it gets to the world of work, you will be getting performance reviews as well, thrillingly. Now, what do we do with this information? As you guys have clearly identified that you use it to improve your development. You use it and you take it to the next training session. But my question to you guys then with that is, do you get information from anyone else? And what do you do with that information? So what other sources or who might give you some information on your performance? Let me know and put it in the chat box. Like Dervlis is saying, parents, coaches and parents, dad. Let's hope Grace's dad knows what he's talking about. The same with Ella's dad, Danny's dad, coaches, parents, anyone other. Thanks, Ella. That's exactly what I was looking for. And Sam too. I was very much going to ask, do teammates, do you guys give feedback to teammates? Do you feel, is there a process that you guys give feedback to how your teammates are doing? Is it just a verbal confirmation out there on the pitch, or do you guys huddle at any stage post-match and discuss that? But very much it sounds like parents and coaches are the big voices there to give you feedback. And can I just ask you guys, what sort of sorry, that's my dinner. What sort of feedback are they giving you guys? Is it similar to yourselves? Is it work-ons, or is it things you did well? Let me know what sort of information they're giving you. Andrew saying points for improvement. Okay. Anyone else? Trevor saying encouragement. Oh, I really like the way you've phrased that. It sounds really positive. Encouragement if something had gone wrong. Danny saying what I did wrong, work-ons and points for improvement. Things I did well and want to improve on. Team plays and tactics, pointers for improvement, and saying what went well. So a real mix of feedback you're receiving there. It's very much points for improvement. And that makes sense considering the stage you're at in your development, in your rugby development. But then we're also hearing quite a bit there on what went well and maybe even how to push that on a little further. And that's really, really positive, because we don't necessarily just want to focus on what went wrong. Because I suppose what happens then to that confidence that we've focused the last couple of sessions on developing, well, if we're only focusing on what we did wrong and the negatives, it's really going to knock and eat away at that confidence that we work really hard to try and build up. So the reason I ask you about what you're doing, what are you doing post big match, is to really start to raise your awareness that you're not just done after your match. Okay, we see in those athletes that are way up, that will be playing the matches tomorrow on the TV that we'll all be watching, those players spend a lot of time post-match monitoring and reflecting their performances. And I suppose I want to raise your awareness of the importance of this process. I want to raise your awareness on why it's really important for you to monitor how you were playing and what you were doing out there on the pitch. Really, it allows you to evaluate, were you doing a great job there, or actually that what you weren't able to transfer what you were doing at practice onto the competitive into the competitive environment, or what it helps you realize where the differences or where the challenges are. And by going through this process, by reflecting and monitoring how we're getting on, it really helps us to increase our self-awareness and helps us to learn about ourselves, what our strengths are out there on the pitch or as a teammate, and also what are the areas that we need to develop and improve upon, as we've clearly identified. But also, it helps us to learn from every match, from every competitive situation, from every training session. And really, that's what the coaches at this stage are looking for. They're looking for, do you learn from the information that they're sharing with you? And what are you doing? How are you showing that you're committed to developing your rugby and making that progress? So my question to you guys is, how frequently do you monitor your performance? Is it just after those big matches? Is it every big match, or is it every month, every 6 weeks? How frequently are you guys monitoring your performance? Put it in the chat box. Danny, straight on there, every day after the match until your next one. So does that mean you're also doing it at practice? Ella's saying, yeah, she's saying after every match and every training session and match. Brilliant. All the time, Alexander and Thomas are saying. Brilliant. Okay, so you guys are already on this, and I'm really pleased to hear that. So you're saying to me that you're monitoring and evaluating your performance after every match. And I would say to you, push yourself. Can you also do this after your training? Because if we're saying, actually, it helps us to find out how we're getting on, we probably need to be doing that at training too, because it's going to help us identify those work-ons or what else we need to be doing. And it helps us learn, as we've said. So train after matches, given, we need to do that, but we also need to consider, can you do it after training? And how do you do this? Is it just simply discussions with your parents, or is it discussions with your coach? What does it look like for you guys? Put it in the chat box. How do you monitor and discuss that performance? Aftermath discussions, making notes. Okay. Megan saying she goes over it in her head. Sam gets to watch footage. Nice, lucky you. Talking with parents, talking with coaches, watching the game, the recording of the match, coaches and parents, talking and making notes. So again, our video analysis, a real mixed bag there. For those of you that have the opportunity to engage in video analysis, what do you, oh, Ryan's grandpa gets involved. Love that, Ryan. Those guys are sorry. Those of you that have the opportunity to engage in video analysis, what are you doing with the video analysis? When you're sitting there in the session, is it just simply discussion, or are you guys making notes, or are goals set? What do you do in the video analysis sessions? Anyone get back to me? Coach gives goals for the training session, taking notes, talking about where to improve, go through every breakdown and make notes. looking for errors and talking with teammates about, that's great. Talking with your teammates as well, being able to discuss it. So if you can't see or identify a solution, perhaps your teammates could help you with that. And Jack saying, actually, what could we, talking through what we could do better. So there's a real discussion element. There's maybe a shared aspect there that you might gain from talking with teammates, but then also taking notes, which I love the sound of. Okay, so when we talk about our monitoring our performance, I've got a really simple wheel here, or figure or diagram that I have used. And would you believe I've used it with a number of different rugby teams in the past, and it's very simple, but it sounds to me like it's quite reflective of what you guys are doing. And so you guys are playing the big match. You prepared for it and you played, but you also review it. And you're asking yourself, well, how did I do? What went well today? What didn't go so well? What are areas that I develop or improve on for the next match, as you guys are saying? And then you go to training, you go to practice, and you do that. You try to work on those areas that you've identified from the match. Whether it's set plays, whether it's your coach getting you to run through some tactical plays, or even it's maybe some technical elements of your own individual performance, you work through those at training, at practice. And then, as we've identified really clearly, we need to also review our practice and training. How did that go? How did it feel? Is it helping you to build your confidence, feel better about how things are going? And then that leads us into our preparation. And we know, based on our last session, that the place of preparation is really important for you guys. And you had a go, for it sounds to me like most of you had a go at implementing some of that preparation work. And then we go into that big match again and perform. And this cycle, for someone who's looking to develop and improve their rugby, is a never ending cycle, which is why it keeps going round and round, because you play the next big match and then you review and you evaluate how you got on or what else crops up. Are there any statistics or any video that you can go through with your coach, with your parents? What are your grandparents saying if they're there? What are your teammates saying? Then you impact that in training, you review it again, and you get that back into the big match. All right. So when we look, it's not a complicated process, this, but if we want to develop and improve and be the best rugby players that we can be, we need to engage in some sort of monitoring and reflection of our performance, because ultimately this is going to improve how you're playing out there on the pitch. And we're saying, well, actually, we discussing this, whether it's with our parents or our coaches, is a good process of doing this. But and I know for some of you, you note this down. And I actually would probably encourage you to make some record, to keep a log. And I'm not saying keep a diary, dear diary, today I didn't play so well. No, you don't need to go into that detail. For me, it's simply a log. All right. After every training, what did you do well? What didn't you do so well? What needs that impact on training? What do you need to work on? All right. And also maybe even taking a step further and saying how you're going to work on that. I work with, I shared this example last weekend when I was down with the golfers, but I work with an Olympic athlete who I worked with them at Rio and at Tokyo, and who knows, maybe in Paris, but just before they compete, they get a real crisis of confidence, and they start, when they're kind of in the build up to their competition, they really start doubting themselves. They start to question if they've done enough, have they done enough training? And one of the things we realized in the build up to Rio is actually, well, let's keep a record of it. Let's keep a log of this so you remember everything that you have done. And they take those logs with them to major competitions. And we've got books, or they've got books that they take and they just simply flick through. And what does that bring with it? Because they see the amount of practice, the quality practice, and the progress that they've made. It helps build their confidence and helps them feel ready to perform. And if we can play with confidence, we're giving ourselves a bloody good chance to play some decent rugby. So my question to you is there a logbook in your life? Might you be open to keeping a record of things? And that builds on then us actually perhaps even setting some goals. And we'll chat about that as well. So monitoring our performance, doing it after the big match, doing it after training, keeping that process and that flow going. But the question then is, how committed are you? This isn't easy to do. We probably need you to be doing this quite consistently, as we said, after every big match, after every training session. But how committed are you to be able to do this? And interestingly, that the commitment came up on aligned with the academy and what they showed. How do we demonstrate hard work? How do we show commitment to improving? Because your coaches want to see you do that. That they want to be working with players that are showing they're fully committed to and prepared to work hard on their development. Because that shows that they'll hopefully will get there. So my question to you is here on the slide. Can you think of an elite athlete, whether it be a rugby player or another athlete or another sport, can you think of an elite athlete who's demonstrated commitment to their development? Maybe talked about it in the media, or maybe showing how they've overcome injury and what they did, and how they did it. Yeah, what did they do? How did they do it? And what did that commitment look like to working hard for that athlete? Take a minute, think who comes to mind. What did they do? And put it in the chat box. Got Rory, great examples. Rory McIlroy, Ciara McGeehan, Katie McCabe, great example. What did they do? All right. If they're committed to working hard, what were they doing? Rory Best, another great example. Megan saying practicing more and more. So working hard at practice, being really committed at practice. Nice, Megan. Any other examples? What did these elite athletes do? Alison, Joey saying kept working with a broken arm, working toward a goal and keeping it in sight, training and talking about it to others. Lovely. Any other examples? What did they do to show that they were committed? Rehabbing an injury so he could come back faster than expected. Ryan saying actually he left the country to get more competition. Golfers, yeah. Hitting the gym as well as training sessions, yeah. Andrew Porter went back and trained and put on more weight and muscle. Gillian said sacrifice. What are they sacrificing? Are they maybe giving more time to training and maybe not going out to all the parties? Whatever it may be. Great examples. So we know that these elite athletes themselves are still working hard. We know that they're fully committed. Even, and then you've shared some really tough examples there. So these people were still working through when times get tough. But my question is to you, what does your commitment look like? What does your commitment to development and becoming a better rugby player look like? Put it in the chat box. Andrew saying personal training. I presume that's in line then with the S&C side of stuff and getting that physical fitness going. Watched training and matches even while injured. Yes, Joey. Yes, yes, yes. Putting the effort in, Ryan. Brilliant. Yes. When our coaches see us working hard, they know we're committed, don't they? Hard work, doing what my coaches, practice when no one else is there. Nice, Jack. I know an athlete that talks about it's the stuff you do when no one's watching that counts the most. Attending all training sessions and putting in extra work, gym, hard work. Brilliant. And I agree. I think all of those examples show that you're committed, show that you're working hard, show that you're really trying to progress. All right. But when we talk about commitment, commitment isn't simply a promise. All right. It's not a prediction. It's not you telling someone what you're going to do. And it sure as heck isn't an attempt to be perfect. Right. A commitment is really you putting one foot in front of the other and working hard and doing, as my to-do list says there on the side, doing what it takes to get to where you want to go. And when we talk about commitment in sport, we really we need to be aware, and I think it's really important for you guys at your stage of development to know that you're not perfect, that there will be mistakes, there will be errors, there will be really tough days, and there will be injuries, right? But actually, despite that, you can still show commitment to your development and your progress. You will, as I say up here, go off course. You will stuff it up, and you will do this again and again and again. All right. But if you are truly committed to your rugby and progressing, actually, you're going to get back on track again. If you're truly committed, you're going to recover from that injury. You're going to work on the rehab. You're going to put the S&C in, and you're going to keep getting back on track. Now, here you'll see I've got a scale of 0 to 10. If I ask you now, on my scale of 0, not at all, 10 being 100% committed, how committed are you to your rugby development? Give me a figure in the chat box. On 0 to 10, how committed are you at working hard at the development of your rugby game? Wow, there's a lot of high numbers there, right? So those numbers, and I think it's really, I love using this scale of 0 to 10 with athletes is, well, actually, when times are tough, how committed are you to working at this? I'm a 10, Leanne. This is what I'm going to do. I want to see, and I challenge you, can you demonstrate that 9 out of 10? Can you demonstrate that 10 out of 10 commitment in the next match you're playing? Can you demonstrate that level of commitment at the next practice, the next training that you're undertaking? What does that look like for you? Keep asking yourself, put it on a scale. Sorry, guys, I have a tickle in my throat. So we've identified we've got areas that we want to develop and improve on our reflecting, reviewing, post big match, post training. We're 10 out of 10 committed to working hard at these. Well, what do? We set some goals. All right. You plan with purpose and you set goals. So why is it important to set goals? Well, it helps you to focus on your development. It will impact your performance. It helps you reach your potential. It helps with your motivation. It helps us to narrow down and gives us a very clear focus for our training. This is what I'm working on tonight. This is what I want to get better at. Or if we're going down for a kick about ourselves, then this is the purpose of it. And it ultimately will help increase your confidence. And we know when we play with confidence, we probably play a bit better. Without doubt, as we say, you're way back at the start of that chat box, we use this information to set goals. Do you set goals for your performance? What do they look like? Are you setting them for this training session, this practice session, or are you setting them for the match? What is your goal, your role, your individual goal, your team goal? What are we all working together to do, to achieve? And is there a block of training? Maybe not at this stage in your season, but pre-season, 6-week, 8-week block of training in the gym. Do you set yourself a 6-week goal? If not with you guys, but it might be a season's goal, or even we set goals in an Olympic cycle every 4 to 8 years. Do you set yourself goals? Is it simply setting yourself an outcome goal? Is it to win? I would encourage you to maybe draw that in, because we don't have a lot of control over that, and focus on the goals that you do have control over. What's the process? What are some of the actions that you can put into practice? So I've got a little goal reflection sheet, and if I tell you I've used this across all levels with the under 16 golfers, I've used it with you guys, I've used it with professional athletes. It's a very simple sheet, very simple questions. Again, if you were to keep a log, writing your goals down in this logbook might be a really good way of keeping a track of performance, of keeping a track of that, using that information you've done from your reviewing, setting yourself some goals, and then reflecting on it again. So what are your goals for this training practice or this match? You know, can you consider all areas around that performance puzzle? The physical, the technical, the tactical, the positional, the mental. What's the team goals? What's your role within those team goals? Write it down. Be specific. Without doubt, we've got some people studying GCSE PE here. You know, can you set some SMART goals? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time referenced. You could go SMART, smarter, however way you want to go. I like to keep it simple. Can you link that to part of your process? Might it be, actually, when I feel nervous, I'm going to do my box breathing? Or when I make a mistake, I'm only going to talk kindly to myself. Just some mental goals. It's my space. How am I going to achieve my goals? And what processes will you follow to achieve your goals? So what are the steps? We often see identify goals as something to work towards, but what are the steps on your ladder to achieve that goal? What do you need to do? Is it communication? Is it speed? Is it fast feet? What do you need to do to achieve that goal? And one of the key things we need to be aware of, what might get in the way? What are the obstacles to you achieving that goal? Is it weather? Is it injury? Is it teammates being slack? Is it not getting opportunities? What are some of the obstacles? Why is it important to identify these? Because really, we want to be prepared and we want to know how to overcome them. And the key piece to setting goals is simply not to ignore them once you've set them, is to look back on them and reflect. And it might be a really nice way of including that within that circle of reviewing. Post-match, did I achieve my goal? Give yourself a score out of 5. And what are the work-ons? What do we need to move on to next time? Is this goal going to be a movable goal and we're going to continue doing it during the next match? But setting the goal, reviewing that performance, setting that goal for us at training or at the match reviewing them, impacting. It's this constant monitoring and reviewing process. And that allows you to monitor and demonstrate then the commitment to your development and your progress. Because even though it might not have been a great match, or you might have made a few errors, what are you doing to show that you're committed to progressing and improving? Because that's the key. So, on reviewing and reflecting back on tonight's session, what did we talk about? We really talked about what happens after the big match. We talked about identifying work-ons, who helps you gain that information. We talked about the place of monitoring your performance and how you demonstrate your commitment to working hard. Do you set goals? On a score of 0 to 10, how committed are you? So, guys, with my annoying cough, that's it for me tonight. And that's us for our sessions this year. I'm going to wish you the best of luck with the upcoming session or blitzes and matches. And any questions, there's my email. Drop me a message.
Brilliant. Thanks, Leanne. That's awesome. Just kind of looking back on my career and my rugby, the biggest jump I ever made was when we started to review and reflect on performances and goal setting and making it a real clear goal setting. So I was a bit like what Leanne said. I'd just write down, I want to win. That was it. And until I got came across a very, very good coach. He said, right, no, we've got to delve deeper into what your performance looks like and how to review it and how to reflect. That's when the next step happens. So if you can get into the habit of reflecting and reviewing and thinking about your performances and monitoring the performances, as well as having balance in your life, you will certainly grow as a player and grow as an individual, and you'll be able to take all those little skills through your life and through your life experiences. So yeah, and that's brilliant. Love that. Really good. And hopefully everybody you've enjoyed the 4 sessions that you've had with Leanne. You're very lucky. These don't happen for everyone. And I'd like to thank Leanne for the amount of hard work that you put into those sessions. And thank you very much for this season. That's 2 seasons in a row now. That's brilliant.
Indeed. How lucky am I?
Yeah, no, how lucky are we? So I'd like to thank Leanne. I'd like to thank you all that were on the thing tonight, the webinar, and hopefully, guys, you can put some of these things into practice and take it on for your performances for the next few games of the remaining part of the season. So good luck to you all, and I know I'll see a few faces over the next few weeks. You're free to go.
Bye, guys.